Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and the Lego Movie 2, the second part, followed up the first part with a really fun sequel that's every bit as packed with cameos and subtle animation jokes, but with the added bonus of some reflections about how crazy it is that Chris Pratt's a superhero now. Like, I know some of the fans who see it might be too young to remember Andy Dwyer, but not me. Fat Pratt for life. Let's rewatch this movie scene by scene and point out all the details that you might have missed. And spoiler warning, in case you haven't seen the movie yet, go watch it. I think more people need to check this movie out. Okay, this movie begins by revisiting the ending of the first film, with Will Ferrell as the man upstairs, inviting the sister to come play too, which manifests on the ground level as the infamous Taco Tuesday attack on Bricksburg. The aliens of planet Duplo totally dominate the heroes, and notice how they talk to each other.
I gotta get it, baby. No, I did not.
The first Lego movie revealed to be an imaginative, extended metaphor for the relationship between the boy, Finn, and his father. This second movie is about Finn learning a way to communicate and cooperate with his sister, Bianca, rather than just retreat in his own gritty, aggro mindset. So, down on the Lego level, the conflicts between these characters often take the form of arguments between kids. Miss me?
No, I didn't.
I have a shield.
That shield doesn't block measles.
How do you have measles?
Because my parents won't vaccinate me.
Lucy, aka Wild Style, voiced by Elizabeth Banks, tells us how the Justice League took off, and we get return cameos from all of them: Superman, Channing Tatum, Green Lantern, Jonah Hill, Wonder Woman, Kobe Smulders, and now this new version of Aquaman, actually voiced by Jason Momoa himself. And notice how he says, "My man," and "woo," like he always does. He also has the same jade necklace that Arthur Curry wears in that movie. And if you look behind them on their ship, you can see that they have Lex Luthor caged up. Makes sense that they wouldn't want to leave him behind. And after years and years of destruction, we see how Bricksburg has evolved. On the sign, the BR collapsed, making it Icksburg. This is similar to a gag in the show BOJACK Horseman, where the D on the Hollywood sign went missing, and then all the vapid celebrities just started calling it Hollywoo. Batman voice actor Will Arnett stars in BOJACK Horseman, and that show's creator, Raphael Bob Waxberg, reportedly contributed to this movie's script. This might have been one of his jokes. But the actual new name of the city is Apocalypseburg, and it's inspired by many famous post-apocalyptic settings. Of course, the world of Mad Max. The battle cars are modeled directly on the ones from Fury Road, and Larry the barista now has an Immortan Joe mask, and Lucy's look and her new black hand are a nod to Furiosa. She also wears these goggles, and she has a hood, a lot like the ones Rey wears while scavenging the ruins of the Star Destroyer on Jakku in The Force Awakens. The wasted Statue of Liberty is of course taken from the Planet of the Apes, and Batman's new leather straps look a lot like the futuristic nightmare version of Batman from Batman vs. Superman. And then we catch up with Emmett, voiced by Chris Pratt. He follows his same upbeat morning routine, but the surroundings have been updated. The coffee shop is now Coffee Unchained from the coffee chain in the first movie. Surfer Dave is now Chainsaw Dave. And Sherry Scratch and Post returns, but now all of her cats have these post-apocalyptic attire. And while passing all these familiar faces, Emmett listens to a Tween Dream remix of Everything Is Awesome, probably a nod to Katy Perry's Teenage Dream. And this cover is by comedy music duo Garfunkel and Oates. Emmett also passes these sewer babies, which I guess are like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, except they're babies and they carry deadlier weapons. Notice that one of them has a Wolverine claw. That's actually from the Wolverine Lego set. Emmett passes by Alfred and Batman, and he probably caught a few of the references to his solo spin-off movie a couple years ago. The other Justice League members said that he was on a separate standalone adventure, and here Batman talks about learning the value of friendship. Emmett tells Lucy about a nightmare that he had with everyone he loved getting sucked down into a dark pit, which we later learned was the Bin of Storage. And we get this shot of Gandalf falling from a cliff. This is a nod to Gandalf's death in the movie The Fellowship of the Ring.
Fly, you fools.
And after Emmett shows off his new dream house and his double-decker front porch swing, General Mayhem arrives. She's voiced by Stephanie Beatriz, and rather than the classic Lego person design, Mayhem is taller, more curved. She's from the Lego Friends brand of Legos that were marketed to girls. The weapons that Mayhem fires at them are stars and hearts, just like the heart that Emmett/Finn gave to Bianca in the beginning. So really, she's just trying to return the love. And if you look closely, you can see that some of those hearts have visible thumbprints and scratches on them, a sign that these are older Lego pieces with some more wear and tear. Inside Batman's desert bat cave, Mayhem kidnaps several of them, leaving Emmett behind, and Emmett gets knocked out and he has a vision of the real world. And if you listen closely, you can hear Finn telling Bianca that he's crafting a narrative involving time travel. It's a small moment that foreshadows the reveal later on that Rex Dangervest is actually an older version of Emmett from the future traveled back in time. Emmett gets chewed out by the others, including basketball stars Gary Payton of the Seattle Sonics and Cheryl Swoops of WNBA team the Houston Comets. Now, Swoops actually used to play in Seattle as well for the Storm. Lego Movie producers Phil Lord and Chris Miller are from the Seattle area. There's actually a bunch of Seattle references throughout this movie, like the color palette of Rex Dangervest and his ship and his Raptors. These are the Seahawks colors. Now, also in this cave, there are a few cameos from Velma from Scooby-Doo and Harley Quinn of the Suicide Squad. She actually calls Emmett's plan a suicide mission. And Abraham Lincoln, voiced by Will Forte, also returns from the first movie. And I love how his jetpack monument throne has been customized into a Game of Thrones Iron Throne. Gandalf makes a great joke here about Marvel not returning their calls, and their only superheroes left are old school Aquaman and unlicensed Larry Poppins. Now, the Lego Movie properties are from Warner Brothers Animation, and Warner also has the rights to the DC Comics characters, Harry Potter characters, The Lord of the Rings, which is why all those characters can show up in this movie. But Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, those are all owned by a different studio, Disney, which is why those cameos can appear in movies like Wreck-It Ralph 2, but it's harder for them to get the rights in the Lego Movie, or in properties like Ready Player One, which is why you didn't see Iron Man in that movie. Now, there was a Star Wars cameo in the first Lego Movie, but that was before Disney finalized its acquisition of Lucasfilm. General Mayhem brings the others to the Sistar system to meet Queen Whatever Wanabe, voiced by Tiffany Haddish. She's a shapeshifter made up of old school Diplo blocks, the ones with eyes and faces on them. And Emmett launches his rescue effort, rebuilding his house into a spaceship. As he heads out of the basement, the door suspends before him, rotating, as he calls it, a portal to dimensions unknown. This is a reference to the opening credits of the Twilight Zone. After flying through this portal, the ship blasts through this wormhole of multicolored light. This door is actually called the Stairgate in the movie, and all of this is also a nod to the famous Stargate sequence from Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. Emmett is saved from the asteroid field by Rex Dangervest, also voiced by Chris Pratt, since of course we find out later it's Emmett from the future. Rex is basically an amalgam of various roles that Chris Pratt has played. Galaxy defending for Star-Lord and Guardians of the Galaxy. He jams out to Motley Crue as he flies around in space, and he mentions having bad hearing from listening to a mixtape at full volume. Of course, nods to the soundtrack in the Guardians movies. Rex also mentions having a chiseled jawline hiding under baby fat, referencing the crazy change in Chris Pratt's physical appearance when he switched from doughy sitcom star to shredded superhero, #FatPratt. You'll also notice that Pratt plays Rex with a kind of vocal impersonation of the actor Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell actually plays Star-Lord's father, Ego, in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, who is, like Rex, a friendly mentor figure who later reveals himself as an evil manipulator. Rex is also a cowboy, a reference to Pratt's character in the reboot of The Magnificent Seven a couple years ago. He's also a raptor trainer for his role as Owen Grady in the Jurassic World movies. He's even doing the same pose with the raptors here. He's also apparently an archaeologist. That could be a nod to the speculation that Chris Pratt might be being considered to play a young Indiana Jones. There's that photoshopped image that went around a couple years ago. It's just insane to think that in the 5 years since the first Lego Movie came out, Chris Pratt's career has taken off on all of these different directions. So I don't blame them for using this as part of the story. Another fun detail, Rex's ship is shaped like a punching fist, and the ship is called the Rexcelsior, which could be a nod to Excelsior, the catchphrase of the late Stan Lee. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew visits Planet Sparkles, inhabited by these sparkly vampires. They describe themselves as attractive, non-threatening teen vampires. They talk about their feelings and how they can never be together. Obviously, these are parodies of the vampires from the Twilight books and movies. They also describe this place as a self-re-education celebrity center, so spiritual, which is kind of a veiled jab at the Scientology Celebrity Center in Hollywood, known for its creepy, brainwashy, culty reputation. Please don't sue me. Each of them gets a makeover, gets scrubbed up, massaged. This is all very similar to the Emerald City sequence in The Wizard of Oz. Actually, Dorothy, Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Lion do show up a little later. Lucy's hair is revealed to be multicolored, and she takes it off, and she asks if she looks like Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis shows up nearby, sitting in a hot tub. Bruce Willis actually voiced this part for the movie, and Lucy runs into him later while crawling around in the air ducts, which is a nod to Willis's role as John McClane in Die Hard. Meanwhile, Emmett and Rex explore another area, and this whole part of the movie is a giant homage to James Cameron. The weaponry that Rex and his raptors all suit up in is modeled on the mounted machine guns that the Marines use in aliens, down to the tracking screens. And the dropship that they use is just like the Marines' dropship to the colony on LV-426. And the way each raptor gets taken out one by one is just like how the xenomorphs take out the Marines. Also, Rex named one of these raptors Ripley, the name of Sigourney Weaver's character in the Alien movies, while another is named Connor for John Connor or Sarah Connor from the Terminator movies. After escaping, Emmett and Rex spot this one lone lamppost in the distance. That could be a nod to the lamppost of Narnia, which is the first marker that the kids find in C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. There's another reference to C.S. Lewis that comes up later. This lamppost belongs to the cookie cutter neighborhood where they run back into the Justice League. Jason Momoa returns again as Aquaman, saying General Zod just made homemade guac. And Green Lantern says he's a Zod send. So of course it's a reference to General Zod, the famous Superman villain from Krypton. He showed up in Superman 2 and Man of Steel. This planet begins to brainwash and culture the newcomers with the breakout song from this movie. This song's gonna get stuck inside your head. The filmmakers had to follow up the huge success of Everything is Awesome from the first movie, a song that was nominated for an Oscar, by the way, so they turned to John LaJoie, comedian and musician who was on the show The League. He also did that classic viral song, High as LaJoie researched the math behind catchy pop songs, citing producer Max Martins, and he theorized that simple melodies that use the same number of syllables per verse, hit the same notes, and repeat, tend to be catchy hits. LaJoie also mentioned Radiohead, a band who does this really well. They actually get a shout out in this movie. So then he submerged himself in music influences like K-pop, Taylor Swift songs. He reached out to T-Pain to do the vocals for this, and then he doubled up T-Pain's harmonies with fourth and fifth layers, just like Katy Perry does in her songs. And then he brought in that girl Lele to rap the verses after seeing her perform on Ellen, mixed it all together, and then bam, here you go, catchy brainwashing earworm. And by the way, LaJoie said that he pitched alternate ideas for this song, one called It's Hard to Follow Up a Hit Song, and a slightly tweaked version of Everything is Awesome called It's All Amazing. Anyway, as Rex and Emmett flee, Rex says, think hard thoughts or the rhythm is gonna get you, which is a reference to the catchy Gloria Estefan song. And then after they escape, right as this movie hits its halfway mark, it abruptly cuts to this intermission reel with banana, ice cream cone, and chocolate bar. This is a parody of the Let's All Go to the Lobby cartoon that would air midway through screenings of old-timey movies. Or if you go to the Vista Theater in LA, my favorite place to see movies, it rolls at the beginning of every showing. Jumping ahead to the scene with Batman and Queen, whichever it may be, who sings that she's just not into Gotham City guys, a song that is filled with Batman references. All the actors who have played live-action Batman get mentioned. She sings, I ain't no Selena Kyle, I ain't no Vicky Vale, I was never into you even when you were Christian Bale. And Batman goes, I'm more of a Keaton guy myself. Then later, Batman says he's Affleck level hot, and he has George Clooney charm and Val Kilmer lips, and that he used to wear tights, just ask Adam West. Rex and Emmett plot to wreck the wedding ceremony, which is actually orchestrated by the sister Bianca as a way to make peace with her brother. Obviously, a plan that didn't work. And Rex backflips away and lands on Wonder Woman's invisible jet. He hijacks it. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg makes a cameo during this ceremony, which of course Emmett wrecks, leading to him learning the truth about Rex and his time travel backstory. Rex mentions having gathered pieces from a number of pop culture time travelers. We see Doc Brown and the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Later we see the flux capacitor from that time machine. He also breaks up the phone booth from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the TARDIS from Doctor Who, and H.G. Wells' bicycle thing, a nod to the steampunky time machine from Wells' novel. Rex also breaks up whatever Skynet was using, and he boots that metal skeleton. This is again referencing the killer cyborgs from the Terminator who travel back in time. And he breaks up a hot tub, a reference to the movie Hot Tub Time Machine. Rex lectures Emmett, he mentions The Matrix, a grown-up movie that only cool kids like him watch. And then Rex says, time to put away childish things. It's a very interesting quote. This is another nod to Chronicles of Narnia author C.S. Lewis, who famously quoted the Bible, time to put away childish things. But then Lewis added, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up. So even though Rex is attempting to sound serious with this Bible quote, he's actually undercutting his own seriousness by accidentally alluding to the opposing view, that it's okay to embrace your inner child and not grow up. Maya Rudolph cameos as a kid's mom, orders them to put their Legos into storage. Momageddon comes true, Abe Lincoln screams, I had theater tickets tonight! It's a reference to Lincoln's famous assassination during a play. After a fake-out ending, the abandoned Legos lay sadly in storage, and they all began to sadly sing Everything's Not Awesome. Actually, Lego teamed up with Greenpeace to put out a similar depressing cover for a PSA warning about climate change and pollution.
Everything is awesome.
But they all rally and defeat Rex reflecting the peace between Finn and Bianca. Rex fades from existence back to the futurine, as he calls it, though the way it goes piece by piece looks a bit more like that time travel existence fading from movies like Looper or Frequency. And as the brother and sister play in the backyard, we get one last callback, the voice of Will Ferrell, who couldn't appear physically on set for this movie. He only recorded vocals, and he shouts the line, "Honey, where are my pants?" That, of course, is the catchphrase from Emmett and President Business's favorite sitcom in the first movie.
Where are my pants?
What was your favorite cameo in Lego Movie 2? Comment down below with your thoughts and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at EA Voss, and subscribe to this channel and subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for watching, and oh my god, okay, I forgot it. I forgot that stupid catchy song. It's out of my head. I'm free. I can sleep. Wait a minute. This song's gonna get stuck inside your head.